A senior North Korean official ridiculed American hopes for talks on Tuesday as the U.S. and South Korea agreed to recalibrate their policy toward Pyongyang. On Sunday, Washington called North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's recent speech about preparing for confrontation and dialogue with the U.S. an interesting signal. The Biden administration is keen to hold talks with the North Koreans and has said there need not be any preconditions. But Kim Yo-jong, Kim Jong-un's sister, warned state media on Tuesday the U.S. was interpreting those signals in a way which would, quote, plunge them into a greater disappointment. Her comments come as top U.S. envoy to North Korea, Sung Kim, is set to meet with South Korean President Moon Jae-in.
Taliban fighters have indeed been taking district centers for several weeks now. So what the people woke up to in the news this morning is that the Taliban seem to have been taking essential districts around Kunduz, a city in the north, which has already in past years been taken completely by the Taliban before, and for that reason, of course, carries a huge significance if they would be able to take back that city, if the Taliban would be able to take that city again. Another thing that people woke up to was a couple of photographs circulating on Twitter this morning, allegedly showing a small number of Taliban fighters posing for photos right outside of the city gates of Mazar-e-Sharif, which is the largest city in the country's north.
Well, it's a complex problem, Tholi. As you know, the president, in his latest statement, basically said that those who refuse vaccine will end up going to jail or can be jailed by state forces. But that was quickly contradicted by the Department of Justice Secretary himself, who basically said that the law actually does not compel or cannot force anybody if they refuse a vaccination program by any local government, as you see. But the problem of vaccine hesitancy is beyond just, the complicated and contradictory statements of the government. It started in 2017 when President Rodrigo Duterte's government also conducted an investigation into Dengvaxia, which was a dengue vaccine being tried on children here during the time of former President Benigno Aquino. The investigation was played out before the general public for months, and according to experts, that actually increased the level of vaccine hesitancy here in the country.
As our nation returns closer to pre-pandemic life, tonight the Delta variant is COVID's most serious threat. The most dangerous strain so far, now contributing to a rise in infections in 8 states. Just as concerts sell out and summer crowds return to popular venues, the unvaccinated could prolong and exacerbate the pandemic.
It's starting to accelerate really quickly in the U.S. So last week, about 10% of the virus isolates were the Delta variant. Now it's up to 19%. So it seems to have pretty regular doubling.
While 65% of adults are at least partially vaccinated, the Delta variant has now been detected in nearly every state and is gaining a stronger foothold in regions highlighted here with low vaccination rates.
Colombia has now lost over 100,000 people to the coronavirus pandemic and has recorded a new 24-hour record of almost 650 deaths. President Ivan Duque has pointed his finger squarely at tens of thousands of people who've taken to the streets to protest his government in recent weeks. Duque put out a statement saying the protests had cost 10,000 lives.
Thousands of fans will be allowed into venues to watch the Tokyo Olympic Games next month, but they will be told not to cheer or even speak loudly. Organisers are limiting numbers to a maximum 10,000 spectators, with venues only half full, though that's going against the advice of scientists. The decision could be reversed if coronavirus infections surge higher.
For a while, it seemed possible the Tokyo Games might actually take place with stadiums like this. But today, the president of the Tokyo Organizing Committee, Seiko Hashimoto, announced a compromise. In light of the government restrictions on public events, she says, the spectator limit on the Olympic Games will be set at 50% of venue capacity, up to a maximum of 10,000 people.
Well, we have to remember that Pedro Sanchez, the socialist prime minister, is in a minority government, and he's hoping and has been asking and receiving support from smaller regional parties, including the left-wing Catalan nationalists. And many of the cynics think that this is a payoff for some of the deals that he's been able to do with the Catalan nationalists. Now, Pedro Sanchez says that it is his time for forgiveness. He said that this is a move to try to pave the path of reconciliation. Those independence leaders, some of them have already served out their sentences. Some of them are about 3.5 years through sentences ranging between 9 and 13 years. And the Prime Minister says that this pardon could help provide harmony.
Pakistan has announced that it will complete the Afghan-Pakistan border fencing by the end of June. Now, while addressing the Pakistan National Assembly in a budget session, Pakistani Interior Minister Sheikh Rashid Ahmed said that 28% of the work that has already been completed as foreign troops are withdrawing from Afghanistan. Ahmed says that the next 2 to 3 months are very important. He also added that infighting is going on at some 38 locations in Afghanistan, explaining that close to 2,400 Afghan personnel had joined the ranks of the Taliban. Now, Pakistan shares a long and porous border with Afghanistan. The fencing of the land border with Afghanistan began back in 2017 after a spate of attacks from across the border.
And now to some controversy, because organizers of the European Football Championships have refused an application by Munich City Council to have its stadium illuminated in rainbow colors for Germany's final group game against Hungary. The sport's governing body, UEFA, says that it was declining the request because of its political content. The Munich mayor, Dieter Reiter's application made clear it was meant to protest a new Hungarian law that prohibits the sharing of content portraying homosexuality or sex reassignment with children. Human rights groups have described it as anti-LGBTQ discrimination.